Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football postgame show. We're going to recap the Denver-New Orleans game right now. We have a little ALCS update for you, and they're in a must-win situation, the Guardians, tonight. We'll talk about that more later, but right now, first, we're going to recap the Thursday Night Football game. Sean Payton made a point of getting to the Superdome long before we normally would for a game, 6 hours before kickoff. So he would ease his emotional return to a place where he coached on the home sideline for a decade and a half. I'm glad I was here early, Peyton said, reflecting on the heady times in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina when the Saints became a morale-boosting inspirational force in the lives of rebuilding residents. That was unique, Peyton recalled. None of us understood what it would mean and how big it would become. Coming back here is different and kind of special, um, and made better by seeing his current team, the Denver Broncos, win handedly. Javonte Williams rushed for 2 touchdowns. Cody Barton returned a fumble for 52 yards for a score, and the Broncos beat the banged-up, reeling Saints 33-10 on Thursday night. Bo Nix passed for 164 yards and ran for 75 yards for Denver, who is now 4-3, which dominated statistically. The Broncos outgained New Orleans 389 yards to 271, while sending the Saints, who fell to 2-5, to their fifth straight defeat. It was awesome. It was awesome. The Saints mean a lot to him. He was there for a while and had amazing success. Nick said, alluding to Peyton's franchise high 152 regular season victories with the Saints from 2006 to 2021 and his Super Bowl winning season in 2009. I am happy for him. Peyton's New Orleans team had just 2 losses at home by 20 points or more, something the Saints have done twice in the past 5 days. It's been disappointing, Allen said. Injuries play a part of it, but we've got to find a way to play better. We are making mistakes we shouldn't be. Allen added, us as coaches and players alike, we've got to figure it out. Allen was Peyton's defensive coordinator in New Orleans, and the two embraced after the game. I felt bad, said Peyton, who has now defeated all 32 teams as a head coach. New Orleans is nicked up and got a lot of injuries. And with Saints quarterback Derek Carr oblique missing a second straight game, there were rookies under center for both teams. Spencer Rattler made his second straight start for New Orleans, and his lack of experience was exacerbated by injuries all across the offense. The Saints were missing top receivers Chris Olave with a concussion injury and Rashid Shaheed with a knee injury. The latter going on injured reserve earlier in the day. Two starting linemen, center Eric McCoy, had a groin injury, and guard Caesar Roos had a knee injury and were out. Versatile right and tight end Tyson Hill has a ribs injury and missed his third straight game. Rattler was overwhelmed by a Denver defense that came in ranked 4th in the NFL in yards allowed. He was 25 for 35 for 172 yards, rushed for 34 yards, and lost 2 fumbles. The second of which Barton took to the end zone. In the fourth quarter, Rattler appeared shaken up on the play and was replaced by Jake Hayner, who connected with Cedric Wilson for the New Orleans lone TD. Barton faced Barton faced Rattler's first fumble, which led to one former Saint will lose four field goals, and sorry about that. Rattler was sacked 6 times, once by linebacker Nick Bonito, who had a sack for a fifth straight game. I gotta take care of something here. Just follow the sound of my voice here. My uh, and New Orleans defense, meanwhile, could not come up with any momentum, turning plays that Tyrann Mathieu uncharacteristically dropped an error pass by Nix that sailed directly into the veteran defensive back late in the second quarter. That allowed the Broncos to close out the half with a field goal and a 16-3 lead early on in the season. We played good football, so I know this team has it in them, Allen said, refereeing to a lopsided victories over Carolina and Dallas. But right now, we're not playing that way, and obviously there's a multitude of reasons why, and we've got to figure out how to get back to playing that type of football during halftime. Uh, uh, Record-setting former QB Drew Brees was honored on the field to mark his induction into the Saints Hall of Fame. Team owner Gail Benson presented Brees with a blazer, and a portrait of the club's all-time passer holding the Lombardi Trophy was unveiled. Brees was also honored at a luncheon earlier in the day, during which Peyton made an appearance to congratulate the star player he coached for 14 seasons. It's always good to see him, Peyton said. Brees, 80,358 career yards, passing rank, second in the NFL behind only Tom Brady's 89,214. For many fans in attendance, the halftime festivities were the highlight of the night. The Superdome was largely empty by the fourth quarter. Broncos cornerback Patrick Surtain II had a concussion, and right tackle Alex Palazewski had an ankle injury. They were inactive. Saints quarterback Paulson Abdu was carted off the field with an air cast on his right leg in the second quarter and taken to a hospital. Allen said Adabu had a broken femur. Quarterback Marshawn Letmore left with a hamstring injury. Offensive lineman Nick Saladavai left with a shoulder injury, and linebacker Pete Warner has a hamstring injury, and he was inactive. The Broncos will host Carolina next Sunday on the 27th, and the Saints will have to regroup if they want to get a win. They visit the Los Angeles Chargers at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California next Sunday. But I have to give the game balls to the Denver Broncos. I got to give them to them. They get the game balls this week. I'm having a little technical problem here. There we go. What is going on here? I'm sorry about this. There we go. No. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to give out the game balls. I got to give them to the Broncos. Bo Nix, 16 of 26 carries and attempts, 164 yards. Javonte Williams, 14 attempts, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Troy Franklin, 5 receptions, 50 yards. So I got to give credit to where credit is due, and that's to the Broncos. And the Saints, they will have to regroup. So, all right, there we go. Now I'm going to scroll back up here, and we got plenty of NFL action for you tomorrow. At 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, the Patriots and Jaguars will play at Wembley Stadium in London, England. And the Seattle Seahawks, and I took Denver, by the way, for Thursday night's game, and I won. The Seattle Seahawks are at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Tennessee Titans are in Highmark Stadium in Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bengals are here in Cleveland at Huntington Bank Field to take on the Browns. The Houston Texans are in Green Bay at legendary Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. The Dolphins are in Indianapolis to take on the Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Lions are in Minnesota to take on the Vikings at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minnesota. And rounding out the early games, the 1 o'clock games, the Philadelphia Eagles are at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey to take on the New York Giants. The 4 o'clock games, beginning with the Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders, are in SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. They will be taking on the LA Rams. The Carolina Panthers are at FedEx Field in Washington, taking on the Washington Commanders. And a Super Bowl rematch, the Kansas City Chiefs and the are in San Francisco or at Santa Clara, California, at Levi Stadium to take on the San Francisco 49ers. That'll be a Super Bowl rematch, as I mentioned. Sunday Night Football, the New York Jets are at Ascure Stadium in Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. And we have a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. First at 8:15, the Baltimore Ravens are on the road at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, to take on Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. And the Los Angeles Chargers are at State Farm Stadium in Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. That's the football action for tomorrow. Right now, the Guardians are down 3-1 as they lost last night 8-6. And they're in a must-win situation tonight as they are playing Game 5 of the ALCS at Progressive Field here in Cleveland. It's 1-0 Guardians, top of the fifth. The Yankees are batting, and now there is already 2 outs, and no, they did have a man on base, but now there's 2 outs. So if the Guardians must win, or it's over. Because if the Yankees win, they're on their way to the World Series. But the Guardians must win tonight to force Game 6 Monday, and they got to win Game 6 Monday to force Game 7 on Tuesday. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up with the Scout Sports 101 Thursday Night Football postgame show and ALCS update show. I'll be back with the tomorrow with the Scout Sports 101 Browns and NFL early games pregame show, which I will be on location for that at the Murphy House, home of my really good friends Matt and Katie Murphy. And my special guest tomorrow will be none other than my really good friend Matt Murphy. We'll get you ready for the Browns game, and we'll tell you all what you need to know and how we feel it's going to happen. And we'll have some Browns news from earlier this week. And so please tune in for that and everything else on that. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.